My husband Will, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been married for just over a year, and have been together for 4 years total. When COVID lockdown began, Will's brother Liam, 26 male, asked if he could come stay with us as his roommate is an essential worker and he is high risk, Crohn's. Before this, Liam and I knew each other, but definitely not well. We'd met probably under 10 times. But since he moved in, we've been spending a ton of time together, and alone. My husband is a lawyer, so he's holed up in his office most of the day. Liam and I are both technically still working, but work has kind of dried up for both of us, so most of our days is free time. Liam's been living with us for over 3 months now. The first week Liam moved in, I was struck by how similar we were, much more so than my husband and I are. We have a similar sense of humor, similar interests, and I'd say our overall energy is very similar. He also looks a lot like Will. Except, since we got married, Will has gained about 30 pounds. Liam, on the other hand, is very fit. You get where I'm going here. I don't know Liam well enough to know for sure if he's flirting with me, but it certainly feels like it. He laughs a lot at my jokes, teases me, and drops everything, e.g. hanging up on phone calls with friends, if I suggest we do something together, go to the store, or play a game, whatever. The way he looks at me also feels very affectionate and occasionally intense. We spend a lot of time tanning in the yard or in the pool, so we're seeing each other half naked a lot. The sexual tension, at least on my end, is through the roof. My sex life with Will has also been flagging, which doesn't help. We've also gotten emotionally close. We have a lot of late night, usually drunk/high talks alone because Will tends to go to bed early. We share a ton of inside jokes. We text, even though we're in the same house. When I see him slash his name on my phone, I get that giddy feeling in my stomach like I do in the early courtship stages of a relationship. I guess I didn't recognize the extent of the problem until last week. On Wednesday night, I had a very vivid sex dream about Liam. I woke up incredibly horny and initiated sex with Will, but was thinking about Liam the whole time. I felt so guilty and disgusting after. Then, on Friday night, we were all drunk and had put on music and were just dancing stupidly. Liam and I kept dancing when Will went to bed, and it got a little heated. We were jokingly grinding and rubbing up on each other, except it didn't really feel like a joke. Since then, I keep having these thoughts of what life would be like if I'd met Liam instead of Will first, or what Liam would be like as a husband. I talked to Will today about possibly asking Liam to leave, under the guise of needing more privacy and more space for our relationship. Will was kind of taken aback, since we'd get along so well, and more or less shot down the idea since Liam has nowhere else to go. I feel like I'm dangerously close to having an affair, if what's happening now doesn't already count as cheating, and I don't know what I can do. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks. Edit. I woke up to this post having blown up. I'm trying to read every comment, but it's a little overwhelming. To clarify a few points. I don't know if this really matters, but a lot of comments have glommed onto this point. Liam and I both work, and are both earning our regular salaries right now. I make more money than Will. There's just less work right now, so we have a lot of free time. I may be a shitty person in other ways, but the leech narrative is false, sorry. I'm not sure if I want to stay with Will, or if he even wants to stay with me. Our married life has been rocky, even before all this, problems with intimacy, affection, lack of time for each other, lack of communication, which we've talked about and tried to address to no avail. Liam reminds me of what Will was like while we were dating, not just physically. I was trying to say this in a comment but was sleepy, and it came out jumbled and kind of the opposite of what I was trying to say. But our married life also overlaps significantly with a really chaotic and stressful time in the world and in Will's work, so I'm not sure if these problems are just temporary. I am not considering physically cheating. I'm just afraid that if we're in the house together all the time, the situation will only worsen, e.g. my feelings get stronger and it becomes harder to cut off. I recognize now that I definitely need to stop getting drunk/high with Liam, but I'm not sure that'll solve everything. I would appreciate advice on how to cut things off tactfully. I assumed this was par for the course for this subreddit, but the names used here aren't their real names. I'm clearly shit at coming up with aliases. I've booked a therapy session for myself and might just spend the day alone to reflect and really think about what I want. Thank you for taking the time to comment, especially those of you who have been kind.
Where do I start? Girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years, married for 2. Now when we first got together, girlfriend was very particular when it came to sex. She told me that there were a lot of things she wanted to save for marriage. One of them being sex without a condom, even though she was on birth control. I understood and respected that, and well, things were great. We started talking about our future finances together, our goals of starting a family. We both agreed we wanted to have 3 children, and I ended up proposing to her. In reality, all the details of length of proposal and all were already decided on. We ended up getting married. During this time period I ended up getting to know her sister and family better. One of the things that struck out about the whole matter was the fact that none of her parents at all seemed religious the slightest bit, and just talking to her sister, she had no reservations when it came to sex. Well, we eventually decided that we were going to start trying for a baby. After 7 months of trying without any success, we ended up going to a fertility specialist. From there we ended up finding out that my wife is sterile from an abortion she had when she was younger. Yeah, I went livid. I thought my wife told me all of her sexual history. Turns out I didn't know shit. I started confronting her when we got home about what the reality of it was. First story, she tells me that she had to get an abortion because she got raped by a guy. I could just tell by the way she was acting it was a lie. I ended up grilling her more, but she ended up just getting distant. I ended up talking to my sister-in-law, whom I am close to, about my wife's sexual history. Well, I ended up finding out that first of all my wife lost her virginity at 15, not 20 as my wife told me. To compound to that, from my sister-in-law's view, my wife never told any of her previous boyfriends that they had to use a condom. And I found out that the abortion was not because of a rape, but actually from an ex-boyfriend. I told her that I know the truth and I want her to come clean. After 2 days of her making up nonsense, she eventually tells me the truth. I already knew what it was, but hearing it from her crushed me. I found out that her number, that she told me I can count all the guys I've been with on one hand, would only be true if her one hand had 20-something fingers. This hurt me but didn't bother me that much. One of the things that really cut deep was all of the things she saved for marriage. She did all that with her ex-boyfriends. To her, she just used sex as a way to manipulate me to marrying her, when she let all of her exes get it freely. And the biggest thing is she is infertile, and I always wanted a family. And no, I don't want to adopt, I want biological children. My wife's condition prevents her from ever being able to go through with a pregnancy. I don't even know why I am posting here. I don't see how things can possibly get better. Despite all the lies, my dumb ass still loves her and hates seeing her in pain. However, there is no way I can believe any of the words she says, nor can I ever have the family that I always wanted. We both know we are broken but are too scared to walk away. I've been with my fiancé for 2 years, engaged for 2 months. I can go on and on about how great he is, but I won't waste your time. He's awesome. Him and my sister's boyfriend have gotten really close over the past year, and they talk at least twice a week, whether on the phone or FaceTime or just hanging out with all 4 of us. Sister has been with her boyfriend since high school, so obviously her boyfriend knows me very well. As well as my dating history. Last weekend BC of the quarantine, we all thought it would be fun to drink and hang out over FaceTime. It was a FaceTime double date and we all had a blast. Laughing, playing drinking games, we all partied for over an hour, and that's when I was over it and decided to leave the party to call my sister directly without the boys in another room. Well, my fiancé and her boyfriend stayed on FaceTime and continued to get drunk together. During this time, I couldn't hear shit. BC, I was in another room and was talking to my sister. Sister's boyfriend goes and tells a bunch of stories about my college days and how many guys I hooked up with. Just so everyone knows. IDK the actual hash. My first 3 years of college was literally one giant party. Without being too descriptive, I admit I was excessive. But at the time it was just what we did. I was single during that time and me and my friends did a lot. With slot of guys. Most of them I couldn't even pick out of a lineup. But again, I was in college. Anyways, one of the parties I went to I ended up hooking up with 4 different guys at the same time. This is relevant later. My fiancé is handsome as fuck and I know for a fact he's been with several women. We talked about our past a lot in the beginning of our relationship. I wasn't 100% honest with mine and I can only assume that he was. After everyone hung up, me and my fiancé were laying in bed and about to sleep when he just calmly asked me, "Did you get gangbanged in college?" My response was, "WTF? Why would you ask that?" That's when he told me everything that my sister's BF told him. He told me details I'm not even sure are 100% true. BC again. Blur. But a lot of the info was accurate, and so I just told him yes. It was one time. He continued asking questions about the other stuff, but the gangbang thing kept coming up and he had a lot of questions about it that I answered the best of my knowledge. Fast forward to Wednesday. Things had been fine and normal on Tuesday. But on Wednesday, radio silence. He hasn't texted or talked to me in 3 days. The breaking point was tonight when he came home from work and he asked me, "Are you friends with any of the guys on Facebook?" Again, not lying to him, I admitted that yes, I was friends with all of them. He left a few hours ago and I have no idea where he is or what he's doing. I'm tempted to call the cops, but I feel like that will just make it worse. I feel like garbage. I fucking hate my sister's BF right now, but maybe it's not even his fault. Maybe I should have been more honest? I'm so lost. He is the best thing to ever happen to me and I've never seen him like this before. Is this the end? He refuses to return my calls, texts. Update. This is the second time I'm updating BC. My first one got deleted. He eventually came back in the middle of the night and we talked until the morning. We both agreed that he needs to distance himself from the relationship while he figures stuff out. He admitted the only thing he cared about was the gangbang, and he told me he couldn't get the visual out of his head. He then told me about a threesome he had in college, which I think is totally made up, and he just wanted to get a rise out of me, but who knows. It just sounded so unbelievable and it felt like he was trying to get back at me. We did make love before we went to sleep, but it was not good. And by not good I mean he felt like he was just trying to punish me once again. Everything was weird from the kissing to the ending. Being vague here. BC, this part is probably what got my post deleted last time. He left in the morning to go stay with his parents and I haven't seen him since. We still text every day, but it's different. Everything is different, and at this point I'm almost positive we aren't going to get married. And again, at this point, I'm okay with that. I know I fucked up and I know I lied, and all I can do is live and learn. As soon as this quarantine ends I plan on using my work program that helps people find therapist. It's part of my benefits and I've never used it before, and I'm legitimately excited to start working on myself for the future, whatever may happen between me and him. Now, to everyone who left me nice messages. I couldn't reply to you all, so I'm just saying thank you for your help and your advice. None of you know me and you are all awesome, and I hope everyone nothing but the best. To the people who left me horrible messages. Yes, I read every one of them. No, your names do not hurt me. I am not perfect and never claim to be, and I know I have a lot of work to do. But I hope all of you happiness in your perfect relationships with your perfect selves and good luck with everything. Also, just want to point out there was some confusion about who I was friends with on Facebook. It was just the 4 guys from the gangbang that I was friends with, not every guy I'd ever been with. And I've since deleted every single one of them. Again, my fuck up. Live and learn.